If there's a single analog piece of equipment that is synonymous with us, with SSL, it's got to be the SSL bus compressor. The idea of transplanting this compressor into a piece of hardware really changed everything. Everybody suddenly realized, oh wow, I can get that sound without the console. And every time we did a version of this, we added something different because people kept asking for new things. We realized, okay, we've done a lot with bus compressors. Where do we go next? Where do we go next? How do we make this better? And that's where the bus compressor came along, the new one, and we call it the Bus Plus. So the Bus Plus, the idea really was to create the most versatile model of the bus compressor the whole world has ever seen. So you got the bedrock design. Everything is faithful to what you already know, but we've also added a lot of new functionality. At face value, what you don't realize is that there is a lot more going on here than what the face of the unit tells you. The first thing we did was we actually added digital control. The Bus Plus is a 100% analog circuit design. It's just managed using a digitally controlled system. That was a really big deal because it allowed us to play a lot of functions using one knob that would do different things. Now, something else that's a really big difference from a regular bus compressor is you have modes on this unit. So there are 4 different modes of operation. Now, the first mode is the classic stereo. The next mode is called sidechain stereo, and this is similar to classic stereo, but with one difference. The sidechain signals are summed together. The dual mono is pretty self-explanatory. That basically splits the unit into 2 separate mono compressors, so you can use them independently of each other. So this is where the bus compressor stops being a mixed bus compressor and turns into a channel compressor or an effects compressor. The mid-side mode next to that allows you to engage a onboard encode decode mid-side circuit. Yeah, there's actually a mid-side processor in this thing. Number of other things we changed from the general bus compressor was the modes that you see at the top left hand side of the unit. You'll notice that there's a button there that says 4K. What this button does is it lets you variate between the X-Logic version, the 9K version, and the early 4K version. So what we did is we made it possible for you to engage the 4K button and also variate between 9 different modes of harmonics. So you can get very subtle, dirty, all the way up to really grungy. There's also something called an FB button, which stands for feedback. So the feedback button changes the signal feeding the sidechain after the VCA in the audio pass. So this results in a more relaxed style of compression in contrast to the traditional grab of the bus compressor. So this allows it to become a feedback VCA. So you're able to replicate some other compressors on the market. Next to that, there's something called a THD button, and that stands for total harmonic distortion. You'll notice that there is a very low ratio settings now, as well as very low release settings. So the low THD tends to become more of a mastering style compressor and allows you to, get even more functionalities out of the bus compressor. And there's other things like the dynamic EQ. The dynamic EQ allows you to add a 2-band dynamic EQ after the bus compressor or before. It's very musical, and it allows you to use the frequency harmonics of the sound to create some interesting dynamics. Those effects really play into a lot of the Bus Plus's ability to manipulate frequency, which really kind of takes the Bus Plus into a brand new place. It's no longer just a bus compressor. It broadens the use of the bus compressor well beyond its traditional place.